So good morning, guys. We are back out here training birds again. We're probably back out here. If you've been following the channel for a while, you will remember this place. This is 1 mile and a quarter. This is a horse racing facility, one of the last on the West Coast now. In fact, they're actually racing horses now on the weekends, I think, or in the evenings. As you can see a jockey, see the top of his head over there training. You can see him training over there. So we've still got 21 birds. I've given the birds a couple days break. It's been a little bit warm again. Hasn't quite been 90, but it's been up in the high 80s, and I've had some work I have to do. You know, like everybody else, I've got the job, and sometimes it takes away from the birds. It's not, I don't complain about it. It's nowhere near as bad as most people's jobs. I don't have to do 9 to 5. I don't have to turn up every day. I kind of get to manage my own time, with the exception of a few exceptions. Yesterday was one of them. But here we go, like before. Small groups, just to keep the hawks away. So here we go. Oh, we may have a vehicle delivering feed over here. Coming back. So we'll let them pass first, so we don't have a bunch of pigeons flying at them. And we do have some commons here. There's 8 or 10 here, live over here in this barn, fly around. One there. So they're probably gonna fly around with them for a bit. So first group. Come on. That blue white wing's always been struggling. Looks like he's getting it together though. So they're probably going to fly around just a little bit here, I think. I think I got the video on them. They're probably going to fly around for a little bit, not only to get their bearings, but we're not that far from home, so they know the spot. So they're probably just going to fly a bit. This is a common on the outside of him here, maybe. They should be able, from this height, probably see home, would be my guess. So it's just really a matter of how long they want to stick around and fly around here. For whatever reason, here in this area, birds don't range a lot. I don't know if it's atmospheric conditions, but these short trains like this do tend to help them a bit, because they start to get to know the area and actually do a little bit of ranging. But for the most part, they're kind of just going off in little circles here and staying close. I'd like these guys to move on before I put the next group, just so we're not attracting a bunch of hawks. But they're kind of just lazily flying around instead of bolting home. So I'm going to shut this off. We're going to wait for them to leave, and then I'll do the next group. So they seem to have kind of, well, they're still here. They're lazily working their way back to the loft right over there. That's about where the last toss site was. So they're a little bit out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and do the next group, because they're not really leaving too terribly fast. There goes that group. The other group is actually still here. They're up above them here. So they're probably going to join together, which is not really what I want them to do, but such is the way it is on these short tosses, because they do tend to stick around. I think they can see the loft and they just figure they're going to fly. Couple of them breaking off that direction, couple of them sticking close. Some still here, some more off over that way. So we've waited a bit. Some of these are still here. Looks like they're going to fly around with these commons for a while. They're kind of breaking off into 1s and 2s now. But we're going to go ahead and do this group, just so we're not waiting around for an hour. A couple of these others coming back to these. So they're definitely sticking close for the moment. Seems like on these short tosses, sometimes they don't all break loose. Yeah, see, this is at least 2 groups here. This is actually most of them, it looks like, in 2 groups. So they actually stuck here. And it seems like sometimes they'll rejoin and then they'll move on. But I think they're going to stick around here and fly a bit, is what they're going to do, is what I expect. Yeah, this is the majority of them together. It looks like I've got 1 or 2 birds out, but they're, I think there's a couple commons in there also. So they're just kind of enjoying themselves, which at this point I would like them to fly and get more fly time. So this is fine. So we're going to go back to the loft, see what happens. See how long it takes them. They've got a good height. They can certainly see home. Got a couple birds outside. I think that one is my yellow check, and I think this one also is one of mine. Some of you have asked about these carriers that I'm using, but I bought 5 of these for this season. And these are from Temu. I think they're actually made by Crown. So they are Chinese. They're about 50 bucks each. You can get them either on Temu, or they also sell them on eBay and Amazon if you decide to use these. The nice thing is they're all plastic. They clean out, you know, they do come apart. They're kind of a pain to put together. You know, they're not, they go together nice enough, but you kind of have to beat on them. And I recommend using a rubber mallet. If you use your hand to kind of put the pins in, you're going to hurt your hand. But that is where these come from, is Temu, Amazon, or eBay, if you're interested in those. So just as I got here, there were some shadows appeared overhead of a couple birds arriving. Not too sure who's here yet. I think my yellow check is here. It's a blue check Portviet, which I don't know if you saw him. 2 of his full brothers and sisters are at Apple Cup. He is Cry 1 tested. My yellow check is here. That's actually proven to be a pretty good pigeon so far. So it looks like 2 here. Blue check Portviet, yellow check. The yellow check, believe it or not, is half Muleman's, and the other half is Ironclad and Black Widow. So kind of a little bit of a grading up process. Looks like these are the first 2 here. Even though when I left, that yellow check was screwing around, still flying around with the commons. So obviously about the time I left, she decided to bolt. And that blue check has actually been, it's a bit of a bigger bird and has actually been usually behind everybody else. So 2 out of 22 here so far. I'm sure the other 20 are going to be on their way. They're probably just screwing around. So we'll wait. I hear another one overhead here. Believe it or not, the blue bar white wing with the that's molting heavy. That blue bar cock with some pretty worn flights and missing a couple flights also, so he's here. So that's 3. That's surprising he's here first, but I guess he probably got a little bit tired. Looks like he's panning a little bit. Must have gotten tired and decided to head home. Got another bird came back in just now. It's a Splash, I do believe. Black Widow and DeVrent, that bird. Yeah, the big blue bar is panting pretty good. That's not surprising with as many flights as he's missing. Probably had to work pretty hard to get here. Now they're going to trap. Now they have some food. That's 3 of those 4 trapped in. That one's dinking around. And here's the majority coming in. Come on. Black widow bird, white, both whites. Come on. Blue grizzle. Come on. Get in. Even that mealy's here, which that bird has been also a bit of a struggler. You can see that everybody's molten, like this black. It's missing a lot of tail feathers. Blue check splash, another blue check splash. I think that's everybody unless it's a, well, here's another one. Last one. Maybe that's not mine, maybe that's a common. Come on. I cut that hole in that lattice and they're not even using it. They're still going around it. Come on. That one's panting pretty good. That one over there I can see panting pretty hard. But that looks like a successful toss. Most of them in on their own. Looks like the 4 that broke off on their own, which is good for those 4 to break away on their own and come in by themselves, or at least in 1s and 2s ahead of this mass. So that was pretty successful. So that is 1.25 miles done. I may do that station again. And if I do that station again, it's only going to be once more. And needless to say, after that, we're going to jump out to 2 miles. And then we're going to go to 5. And once we're at 5, that's out on the rim of the valley. And we get into the hills then. So not too far to go until that happens, until we hit the hills. Basically, 2 more tosses, 3 more tosses maybe. Really only 1 more station to go before we get right on the valley rim, right there at the edge of the hills. And usually at that point, they've actually got to start kind of flying through the hills. Usually their first time orienting, they're going to go through a creek bottom there and have to figure their way back. But successful toss, needless to say. Doesn't look like I lost anybody. Looks like everybody's here. And there's been a lot of losses the last week or so, even on short tosses. Tom Brasher had a really disastrous short toss at California Derby a couple days ago. Was almost 150 pigeons out for quite a while, and there's still quite a few missing, almost 100 last I saw yesterday. I haven't checked this morning, but including one of mine missing, and a lot of other people I know missing birds. It just is what it is, but it was a line of sight toss. Nobody knows what the hell happened. And over at Pacific Northwest Challenge, I'm down a bird over there also, and strangely enough, that happened on a loft fly, and looks like there were quite a few birds went missing on a loft fly, all a few days apart from each other. Very, very weird. So it looks like there's something going on out there that's causing an issue for a lot of people right now. A lot of people reporting losses at tosses, or at least slow returns. And we never know what it causes it. So your guess is as good as mine. We can all theorize, but at day's end, none of us really know. So that is it, guys. I will see you next time.